Today's video is going to be a series of videos that I'm going to make for this channel. I haven't quite decided on a title for yet. I'm thinking something like Stories from CrazyVille. I wouldn't usually tell these types of stories because I feel like what goes on in people's heads and how they handle things is really their own thing. And we are living in a time where obviously mental health is quite addressed and quite spoken about. So the last thing I want to imply is that I'm not sensitive to those situations. But sometimes the situations we as musicians find us in, especially if you are somewhat sane, or at least believe that you are somewhat sane, are really quite ridiculous. Where sometimes you deal with certain behaviors that really are borderline crazy, and you shouldn't always have to put yourself through that. In fact, I recently lost another band member, this time a wonderful musician and person named Jansen Lohmeyer, who was an extremely talented friend and bandmates. And then I found myself in a situation where I was sitting at this rehearsal while somebody was totally belittling the band. Usually, myself and all the other band members would not say anything in these situations. But because the news of my friend's passing was so recent, I was sitting there while this was happening. And it occurred to me that life is so precious and moments are so precious that we don't necessarily have to endure certain moments if they are making us miserable and if we don't want to be there anymore. Hey everybody, my name is Travis Mark. I'm the host of the Musician's Mentor podcast and now the Musician's Mentor YouTube channel. If you have been here before, thanks for coming back. If you're new here, welcome. Regardless, please stick around for a while and do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Okay, so Stories from CrazyVille, Part 1. Recently, I was called by a person that I did not know, asking if I can help them with a weekend run of gigs because their band had walked out. That right there should have been a red flag. I should have asked why the band walked out. Nonetheless, I'm not one to judge, so I agreed to do one of the two gigs. I couldn't do the other. I was already booked. And we proceeded to make plans for me to get the material so that I could learn the material, etc., etc., etc. In addition to agreeing to do the one gig, I was also asked to help find other players for the other two gigs. So I made recommendations for people that I trust, one on bass, one on guitar. Both musicians, in my opinion, are world class. I can trust them. They learn the material. They're on time. They are reliable. So we have a couple days to learn this material and a rehearsal is put into place to which we all show up at. And even though we can see that this person's possibly a little eccentric and maybe borderline kooky, for lack of a better word, we have a great rehearsal and we're convinced that we're going to do a really good job for this gig. All this happens on a Tuesday and the gig itself is 2 weeks away. By the Saturday, this same person, this band leader, calls me in quite a neurotic, panic-stricken manner, moaning about band members and the fact that too many musicians agree to do gigs but don't learn the songs or attend rehearsals. I managed to diffuse the situation and explain that I don't understand all the ins and outs of what are being spoken about, but the band that I'm supplying did show up for a rehearsal and have learned the material, and we're reliable. So I tried to ease the situation down and make it known that this person really has nothing to worry about with the lineup of musicians that have agreed to do one of the two gigs. Nonetheless, this person didn't want to hear it and is insistent that we need to do several more rehearsals. I look at my calendar, I call the other guys. It becomes clear that we can fit in at least one more rehearsal, which we didn't initially agree to do, but we're trying to help this person out. So we arrange it so that we can have another rehearsal just yesterday. Now, this person is a musicians union member, so where rehearsals happen are at the union, but rehearsals have to be booked in. You can't just show up randomly and hope for the best. So I call the person whose gig it is and I ask for them to please confirm that they've booked in the slot that we discussed so that we can all come prepared and have a good rehearsal. To which I don't hear back from, only to get a response via text to confirm if the rehearsal's happening the night before the actual rehearsal. Myself and the other two musicians, we show up, we're on time, this person isn't there, but we see that something else is going on at this rehearsal space, to the point that when this person does get there, we get asked by them if we are not able to rehearse there, to which I respond and let the person know that they didn't phone to book the space, and the space is preoccupied by another act. This really should have been the second or even third red flag here, because the person couldn't handle the stress that was now amounting in this situation. We tried to reassure the person, even offered alternatives that maybe we could go sit in a park and go through the songs, that we could maybe talk about arrangements, all the things that might help make them comfortable, but nothing was good enough. Between us, we eventually secure a music venue that we can go to and spend the next 2 hours rehearsing the songs so that this person feels more comfortable for us to do their gig. Now, I don't know what happened between leaving the rehearsal spot and arriving at this next spot, but the whole demeanor of the person changed. And by the time we got to the venue, things took a turn for the worse. This person stopped communicating with the band, stopped making eye contact with the band, and suddenly, even though all the songs had gone really well at the previous rehearsal, now nothing was good enough. This person stopped the first song because the guitarist wasn't singing backing vocals. Nothing had been discussed about the guitarist singing backing vocals. So this kind of caught us all off guard, especially in the way in which it was done, because it was kind of aggressive. Nonetheless, the three of us are professionals, so nobody said anything and we kept going. The person then stops the second song and starts complaining to the guitarist about his timing. I'll be the first to tell you, we were playing to a click. There were no timing issues musically. The person suddenly could not find the beat. Now that happens, so again, take it with a pinch of salt, stop the song, start again. Nobody says anything. We get to the third song and this person stops the song and starts moaning at the guitarist because he's using a different guitar to what he used the week before. Now, he actually wasn't using a different style guitar. Rehearsal 1, he used a Stratocaster, a black one, single coil pickups running through the exact same rig he was running through. Rehearsal 2, he used a mirror-colored Stratocaster, but single coil pickups running through the same rig. So there was no sound difference. And this person starts losing their shit about how they can't sing if the guitar tone's different to the week before. Now, this was a huge red flag because the color of the guitar had changed, nothing else. And the energy that was projected onto this guitarist was totally unnecessary. This is where my friend Jansen Lohmeyer popped into my head. And I thought to myself, life is precious, like I said at the start of this video. And no one should have to deal with this kind of verbal abuse. Now, I've made videos about keeping your mouth shut, and I still believe that. So in the most gentle tone that I can muster, I stopped whatever was going on. And I said to this person, look, I'm not trying to talk out of turn. We're all trying to do our best here. You keep complaining that musicians aren't reliable and that they don't show up and that they haven't learned the material. Here in this room, you have 3 musicians. We've shown up on time for everything you've asked for, so we're reliable. We've learned the material. We're all following charts on songs that we've learned that you sent. And you keep stopping the songs as if one of us is getting those things wrong, but you're actually missing certain cues. Now that's okay because we are happy to be versatile and work around you. However, the energy in this room is a little bit weird, and I think we would be better off trying to figure out what's going wrong and communicate better so that instead of stopping every few bars into every song, we can get through the set. Honest to God, that's all I said. Well, this person was not happy that I spoke out of turn and proceeded to tell me how confrontational I was being, how argumentative I was being, and that I had no right to comment on the fact that she had said anything about the fact that the guitar tone was different. I thought that that was fair and I said so, but reminded the person that no one there was there to express any negativity or harm anybody, and then asked what we can do to help. What can we do to make you feel more comfortable? What can we do so that you can hear better and that your voice is more comfortable? What can we do to help you figure out these songs better so that your gig goes well? But unfortunately, from there, the ship had sailed. We continued rehearsing. The vibe just deteriorated dramatically. From already not getting any communication or signals or eye contact, songs suddenly developed into these sort of 10-minute jams because certain parts were just ignored. Additionally, lyrics were suddenly forgotten. Now, lyrics weren't forgotten. This was a childish response to what a person saw as a confrontation, which wasn't a confrontation. All I was trying to do was communicate that the band is working and that we will work to make this situation work, but that wasn't wanted. We skipped the second last song only to get to the last song, and while we were on that last chord ringing out at the end of the song, this person's bags were picked up and we were told that they weren't feeling well, they couldn't take this, and they walked out. A very strange response. Nonetheless, we packed up. The sound guy who had been agreed to get paid from this individual was not paid, which we apologized profusely for, exchanged contact details so that they can sort that out, and left. Myself and the guitarist spoke at length after this, and between the two of us decided that we don't think we can commit to this gig because the confidence is now lost in regards to, is this person going to just blow up at us? Or, furthermore, are we actually going to get paid like we were told we were going to get paid? Too many what ifs. And so I called the bass player, explained that the two of us are out and that I need to phone this person because I'm not going to just drop them. I don't want to let them down, but I need to explain to them that we just aren't happy with the situation and we feel it would be better if we part ways. The bass player was very understanding, said that we need to do what we need to do, but he's going to try and stick around because he should at very least get compensated for the amount of work that he's done. That is more than fair, and big ups to him. He did voice his concerns about certain things that had happened and that he didn't know if this person was reliable. Nonetheless, he had put in the time to learn the material and he's going to see what happens. I wished him well and then picked up the phone to this individual who had initially asked me to do this gig when the first band had walked out. A total different person answered the phone. Rather than the angry, moody person that I had encountered during the day, I had a very sweet, "Oh hey Travis, how you doing?" kind of person on the phone. I was cordial. I asked if they were okay. I asked if there was anything that we could do to help. Once again, I was kind of shut down. And then I finally said, look, unfortunately, based on today, myself and the guitarist have decided we are going to pull away from this gig. We're truly sorry, but we can't in good faith commit based on the uncertainty of how things went. I was cut off and belittled and told just how rude I was and how I embarrassed this person in front of the other musicians and that they had the right to talk about their vocal and. I didn't get in another word, not that I needed to, but all I wanted to try and express was that if we had at least tried to communicate, none of this would have happened. But the person shut down and the person behaved like a child. And so the two lessons that I take from it and try and share in this video are the one that I learned from Jensen's passing, and that is life is short and you don't always have to stay in these uncomfortable situations. Handle it professionally, and I really feel like I did. But if you are feeling abused, leave. And two, there are unfortunately a lot of crazy people in this industry. I'd love to say this is the first time I've experienced something like this, but it's not. Hence why this is the first tale from Stories from CrazyVille. If you've had similar stories, please do share them below. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button. Jensen, I know you're looking down, buddy, and thank you for all the good times in the music.